In this movie, Bilbo begins to use the ring and to be under its spell also.
Yeah.
Did you take inspiration by Elijah Wood's performance, or did you talk with him?
Not consciously, no. I mean, I never really spoke to Elijah about the film. You know, I never really spoke to him about playing a Hobbit or anything. Whenever I spoke to Elijah, it was about records, really. I really liked Elijah's performance, though. I mean, I think there were times actually where I knew subconsciously my reaction to things as a Hobbit. I knew subconsciously I sort of had Elijah's face in my head. Do you know what I mean? Which is a very lovely face. But I was aware that whether I wanted to or not, I kind of had some form of his reaction in my head. And of course, you know, Ian Holm. You know, you look back and see what Ian Holm did as Bilbo. Not literally to say how do I play this, but just so you have an echo or a semblance of something, because we're playing the same character. So I just wanted to put in tiny bits, maybe for an audience subconsciously, and for myself subconsciously, to say this is the same character as the one that we met 15 years ago in Lord of the Rings.
Because in the Lord of the Rings, Frodo begins to use the ring, so it's a kind of a parallelism with what Bilbo starts to do now.
Yes.
Smaug is the second important CGI creature you interact with in the saga. So was it different than working with Andy Serkis?
Very, very, very different. Yeah, because with the Gollum scene, I was working with Andy. I mean, that was like a play. You know, it was like doing a piece of theatre. Whereas with Smaug, unfortunately, Ben and I couldn't share that space together. You know, because he's not a 300-foot dragon. You know, and Andy is the same size as Gollum. He's a mammal. He's a primate, and Smaug is not those things. He's a bloody great lizard. So, very, very different. Yeah, because the scene. Always, if you've got two actors in a scene, the scene is going to grow. You know, if we start at 10 in the morning and finish at 6 in the evening, the scene will have changed and it will have developed, please God. But that happens less if you are just imagining the other person. Do you know what I mean? Because that other person can't give you so much back because he's not there. You know, so that's how a scene grows. Because you react to what they do and they react to what you do. But if that's just one way, it's harder. You know.
So was it more difficult?
Slightly, I would say. I mean, it's also fun because in a way you choose, you know, you dictate the scene in a way, you know, because if you're the only person in the scene, you sort of do get to dictate at least what you're doing. And if you want to choose to say this line in that way or choose to kind of look at him over there, then you choose that. But it's slightly more difficult because for me, the pleasure of acting is what the other person is doing. You know, that's the reason I like being an actor, is because I like working with another human being. You know?
So maybe you felt like Ian McKellen in those famous scenes in the first movie when he was like crying just because he had to film in different.
Well, I think I got better at the green screen stuff, and I got to enjoy it, and I didn't dislike it at all. I thought I would find it when we started. I thought I'm going to find this really hard, and actually, it's harder than a real person, but it's not. It's not impossible. It's actually has something to be enjoyed about it. But I think we all got better at it. You know, those days when Ian was not happy in Bag End, that was very early on. Yeah. And that was a totally new experience. You know, like we had little earpieces in. We're not looking at each other. We're just, all we can hear is a faint voice. It's very, very difficult and very different from how I was brought up acting. So extremely different from how Ian was brought up. You know, what our version of acting is not that. You know.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Andrew.